Today, we're going to talk about the most biblical way to lead non-believers into a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for viewing this video. Before we get into our topic for the day, please take a moment to support this channel by liking, commenting, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell to make sure you keep up to date with the latest content. We're posting videos every single day to encourage you in your walk with Jesus Christ, and we're also participating in an experiment to see if we can grow this channel to 1 million subscribers in just 1 year. And if you want to learn why we're doing this, please check out the link in the description box, and it'll tell you everything about what we're doing and why we are doing it. So please take a moment to support and subscribe today. Now, we're going to talk about the most effective and biblical way to lead non-believers into a relationship with Jesus Christ. And what we mean by this is, how do we present an opportunity for individuals to see the value of following Jesus Christ? Now, lately, I've been studying cults and the practices of leaders who have been, in many respects, very effective at discipling individuals, and some who have been very, very harmful in discipling, or should we say converting, or should we say even maybe even forming a cult around their own personality rather than around the identity of Jesus Christ. And in the process, I came across this very interesting book, a very old book from 1983 called Cults in America, and it's by Willa Appel. And Willa Appel is a very unique individual. There's not much to learn about her online, but she wrote a very powerful book here that is filled with all sorts of information about cults in America, the process of becoming a cult member, and then the process of being freed from cults that have had serious holds on individuals. And one of the things that I found interesting about her book is the part that describes indoctrination. What she recognizes is that indoctrination is critical to the process of being brainwashed. And so what she did is she acknowledged 3 steps of indoctrination, which she termed aggressive conversion techniques. And basically, in these 3 steps, a person is going through a certain element of conversion that prepares them for brainwashing. Now, those 3 steps are: first, isolation. You can be isolated from your family. You can be isolated from, your work, your former position, your home, your place of work. There can be a process of symbolic isolation, but the idea is to separate a person from their past life. The second step is the disassociation, or the loss of an identity, which could even include the loss of a person's name. The idea is to use humiliation and guilt as basic tools for psychological dismembering of the former self. So once a person is isolated, they're then disassociated from their past life and who they are as a person, so that in the third step, they can now have a new identity and a new worldview created by the supposed doctrine that is being proposed. Now, this is interesting because the question becomes, did Jesus or any of the apostles use this method to convert non-believers to Christianity? And if they didn't use this method, the question is, what method did they use? Indoctrination is the process of teaching a group or an individual a set of beliefs without the opportunity to critically evaluate or question the beliefs that are being proposed. It is the process of teaching a set of doctrines without the opportunity to scrutinize and call into question those doctrines, so one can evaluate whether it's worth their investment of faith and commitment. Now, Jesus didn't do any of this, and neither did his apostles or first messengers do any of these things either. If you read throughout the New Testament, Jesus typically created an environment where people can hear him speak and then ask questions so that they can have a proper understanding of what it was they were getting themselves into. In other words, Jesus forced no one to accept anything that he was saying, and he forced no one to follow him, but rather he set out a set of truths and then gave them an opportunity to accept them and then follow him. One of the greatest examples of this that I love to recall is found in Acts chapter 17. It's when Paul went to Berea. And when he went to Berea, he was focused on obviously winning people to Christ, but he used a common technique to do so. He went to a place called the synagogue. And in the synagogue, it was already prepared for dialogue. You know, the speaker would speak, but people would have an opportunity to talk back and engage. Paul used this practice, and so did Jesus Christ. And it shows us the value of allowing people to think critically about what is being laid on the table before they make a decision. When we're in this modern world, our idea is to let's get people converted as quickly as possible. And so individuals don't necessarily have the time to think about why they're doing this. What does it mean for me to do this? Rather, people tend to jump into a decision to follow Jesus Christ, either by emotional experiences or it is by something that has been proposed without them having the opportunity to really think about what it is that they are committing themselves to. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with, committing your life to Christ in a moment. But what I am saying is the modern world, and maybe should I say the modern church, has not done a good job at creating environments for people to think about what they're doing and to consider the weight of what they're doing in ways that we see Jesus doing during his ministry, or even the apostles doing during the apostolic ministry. Now, look at this example in Acts chapter 17. Paul is in Berea, and the people of Berea are uniquely different because they were open-minded, it says, and it says that they listened eagerly to the words that were given by Paul. Another practice that they had is that they searched the scriptures day after day to see if Paul and Silas were teaching the truth. And as a result of this process, many Jews believed, as did many of the prominent Greek women and men. What would it be like if we, in our coming together, in our fellowship, in our community services, what would it be like if we took the time to really think through very deeply why we should follow Jesus Christ? I'm moved to believe that the retention of those who commit would be higher because they have found a valid reason to follow Jesus Christ. This is why when we think about what we're doing on this channel, we're thinking about why we are following Jesus Christ in consideration of the various views that are proposed by other figures in other schools of thought. We don't have to be afraid of that. We don't have to be intimidated by this process, and neither do we need to rely on an emotional feeling to get people into the family of God. That is not sustainable in many instances, but rather what is sustaining is this deep conviction that comes from a personal encounter with truth based on time invested to determine why one should follow Jesus Christ. We see this all over the New Testament. We see it in the life of Jesus Christ. We see it in the life of the apostles, and it is worth us investigating at this particular time that we're living in today. So as Christians, we should not be relying on the process of indoctrination. That's actually what cult leaders are using. This is what brainwashing does to a person. They use indoctrination to give a person a feeling that they are actually participating in some religious and maybe devout act. Rather, what we should do is call people to the table, have conversations, spend the time that is needed to make a person comfortable with the ideas that are being presented in this book so they can be fully aware what they're getting into and have a reason to truly commit themselves in a lifelong journey to grow with Jesus Christ. This is so important. And we're in a time right now where we need this more than we've ever needed before. Keep in mind, cults are not just simply committed to religious communities. We have all sorts of cults working in our world. We have many people who are being pulled out of one thing and ushered into another thing and don't even know it. Rather, it is your favorite hip hop representative, your favorite TV show or TV star, or your favorite athlete. There are all sorts of cults in the world. What we want to do is detach ourselves from that phenomena and put ourselves back into a space where we can really think and realize why Jesus is worth following. So friends, as we are going out and sharing our faith, the best way to share our faith is by taking a moment to have a conversation, hearing what other people have to say, thinking through those problems deeply, understanding the other side, and then coming back to the table and finding out, how does Jesus answer what has been addressed, or maybe should we say acknowledged, from the other end of the table. That kind of conversation is not only going to lead to more serious commitments to Christ, but we're going to find, if we use this principle of creating true conversation around the facts about Jesus Christ, we're going to find that people are going to commit to Jesus, and they're going to stay committed to Jesus because they can find no other belief that would measure up to why they should follow anything other than Jesus Christ. Let's try as much as we possibly can to effectively share Jesus Christ to the world in a way that does not bring shame to the name of God. Well, friends, we're wrapping up this video because we have a lot more to share and we have a lot more content to come in the days ahead. So please take a moment to subscribe, like, comment, make sure you're tuned in, because tomorrow we're going to be presenting another video talking about something that can strengthen our walk with Jesus Christ. But until then, we want you to take care and God bless.